All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD 1000 Web Development Technologies course, I've been creating a series of video presentations based on the Mozilla Developer Network Learn Web Development series. I'm in server-side website programming, and we're now starting to get into talking about the Express Web Framework, Node.js, and JavaScript. So if you look, I'm basically coming down to the end here. All right, we've got this overview, then we'll have an introduction, then setting up the environment, and then there'll be a 7-part tutorial. All right, so let's get into it. Express is a popular unopinionated web framework written in JavaScript and hosted within the Node.js runtime environment. This module explains some of the key benefits of the Express framework, how to set up your development environment, and how to perform common web development and deployment tasks. Okay. And it says this guide will provide some information about working with Node.js and Express, and there are other numerous excellent resources on the internet and in books. It says some of which link to on how do I get started with Node.js and what are the best resources. Okay, so what are we going to talk about in here? Well, there'll be an Express Node introduction, again, a what is Node, what is Express, why do we use it, etc. Followed by setting up the Node Express development environment. And we're going to show it based on a Windows machine. Then the tutorial begins. It says the first article in our practical series explains what you'll learn and provides an overview of the local library example we'll work through in subsequent articles. So it explains what the tutorial will be about. Then in part 2, we create a skeleton website project, as it says, which you can then go into populate site-specific routes, template views, and databases. From there, we bring in a database component. As it says, this article briefly introduces database for Node and Express, and it goes on to show how Mongoose can be used to provide database access for a local library website. It also explains how schema and models are declared and a few other things. And just so you're aware of this, Mongoose is used in accordance with MongoDB, which is what's referred to as a NoSQL database. More on that a little bit later. From there, we go to part 4, where we'll set up the routes. As it says, it's the URL handling code with dummy handler functions for all of the resource endpoints we'll eventually need for this local library website. In part 5, it says we are now ready to add pages that display the local library website, books, and other data, including a home page that shows how many records of each model type and lists the details of all the models. In part 6, we'll learn how to work with HTML forms in Express using Pug. Pug is one of the ones that can be used. I wish personally they'd use handlebars, but I'm going to follow their lead. Finally, in part 7, it says now you've created an awesome local library website. You're going to want to install it on a public web server. This provides an overview of how you might go about finding a host to deploy the site. We'll talk about that. All existing tutorials are listed above, but if you'd like to extend this module, here are some other key topics it says that you can take a look at. All right, so this was Express Web Framework, Node.js, right there. I think it was here, the overview, right, correct. So we are next going to jump into the Express Node.js introduction. I'll be back with that shortly.